I love AI and I love AI tools. And a friend of mine actually thinks that I am an AI. So
Oh.
let's move on to AI
You uncanny
policies.
valuing us.
Yeah. Um, do you use AI tools? If you are a creative and you answered no, you're either lying or you're living in 1950. We are all using generative AI to make processes faster, to output work faster, to make research easier. We're all using AI. We can't get away from it. And quite frankly, if you're not using AI at this stage, you're being left behind, and you will be one of those people that is replaced by AI at some stage. You need to stay ahead of the game. The problem with being a creative and using AI tools is that, do you tell the client? Do you pretend that all this amazing stuff is coming out of your head? Where do you draw the line? How transparent do you need to be with clients? We're joined today by Tiffany, who has got something called an AI policy. I've just recently put a little miniature one together. But I'm going to kick off the questions, Tiffany. You obviously do use AI.
Yes, I obviously do use AI. I don't use it for writing though.
What do you use it for?
I use it as a research assistant. I have to be honest and say that AI will probably, by the time I'm ready for my next haircut, be incrementally better than it is now. And by the end of the year, it'll be exponentially better than it is now. At the moment, it is simply not a better writer than me. Just let's put that on the table. So I don't use it for writing because it's quite a shitty writer. There's not a lot of nuance. There's not a lot of the stuff my clients pay for. So I don't use AI for writing, but I use it for a range of other things. Number one, research. And not the kind of research that has to be attributed to sources or cited in white papers, but for sort of surface level research. I'll give you some examples now. I use it for sanity checking. So in other words, I use it to question my own blinkers. For example, if I'm writing a corporate video script, and I think the 5 key points or beats to hit in that script are these, I will often ask an LLM whether I'm missing anything really useful or really cool, or, given best practice in corporate video at the moment in the industry of whatever, if I think that my 5 main beats are these, what other 5 might I not have thought about? So I use it to sort of provide a contrarian perspective. Mm-hmm. And then the third thing is I will often use it for the micro copy. So I'll say to it, come up with 35 puns about dentists, because I could do it, but it'll take forever. I'd rather just let the bot do it. Let the bot come up with 35 puns about dentists, and 30 of them will be awful, and 5 of them will be okay, and 1 of them might be gold, or 2 of them can be blended. So that's what I use AI for. And I disclose all of this to the client on request, but I disclose the theory of it upfront in my AI policy, which does a whole lot of things that I can tell you about when you're ready.
Yeah.
You're ready. Okay.
We are going to get to AI policy shortly. I want to know from Shay, we've already discussed this in a previous episode, but have you added tools or changed up how you are using AI tools in your business?
So not significantly, it's still my brainstorming buddy, but one tool that I did discover that I actually sent to Meegs the other day is called Elicit. And that actually scrapes scientific journals and papers and comes up with almost like a meta-analysis on a specific topic. So that for me was a huge gap with AI, that I wanted to be able to use it to get credible research, and tools like Perplexity were just spitting out, those roundup top 10 lists of stats about inbound marketing or whatever, which wasn't helpful, and I could never find the original source. But Elicit is something I've recently added to my toolbox, and I'm keen to dig into it a little more. But other than that, similar to Tiffany, I love using it for, say, subject lines, and I'll tell it to write 10, and then it'll spark some ideas, then I'll combine, or so it's a great brainstormer, especially for someone who sits in an office on their own and doesn't have anyone to bounce ideas off, sense check.
Awesome.
And then obviously there's the tools like Grammarly for spelling and grammar, and the more kind of procedural tools too, other than the creative side.
Yeah, and there are a few sort of ops tools that I absolutely swear by that are not generative AI. Well, they are generative AI, but they're not writing tools. You know, they don't add to the writing process. Like I swear by Fathom as a meeting note taker. I've tried them all, and Fathom is game-changingly good for me. I absolutely love Fathom. I love the AI function inside Canva. I think it's just too cool for words. I hate the AI function in Microsoft Word. I am desperate for somebody to teach me how to make it go away. That little Copilot thing just annoys the shit out of me.
Copilot's horrible.
So there's some that are just bloody annoying, but then operationally they are. Fathom has like, if Fathom ever stops existing, I will be devastated.
I feel
Any
like
of
that
those
about
transcription
ChatGPT.
tools, man. Yeah.
They're amazing. Oh, they're so amazing. You feel like that about ChatGPT?
Yeah, I literally, my entire life is run in ChatGPT now. Like, I've become one of those really lazy people that ask, like, I was at dinner with my parents last night, and there was an Egyptian goose sitting on the roof, and my dad asked a question. I was like, I don't know, let's ask ChatGPT, and out came the phone, and we just quizzed ChatGPT about Egyptian geese. I don't know if that says a lot about me or a lot about my family in general, but I do literally everything with ChatGPT. And I mean, for me, writing super, super long form articles that are super technical, I do spit out first drafts. I use it for long form, like you guys use it for short form. But there's so much work. I mean, it's not like you can prompt, get this thing and copy paste, because it is a piece of crap. It's just, I've learned to prompt well for a good first draft, and then from there I can kind of tweak it and make it better than the AI. But yeah, I work so much faster now with it.
I give a lot of talks on using AI to write better, to write more human. And the best tip I have to offer anyone is you should use what I call the switching technique. So you use your human brain first to generate a really solid prompt. Then you use the AI brain to give you the first draft. That is usually quite cuck. And then you use your human brain again to iterate, fine tune, polish, clean. But you're going to spend a fair bit of time on that third phase, because it needs a lot of work in order to be good. But switching is the answer.
You have to switch, and you have to spend quite a substantial amount of time creating your initial prompt. And what I found with long form is that you can't prompt something and say, write me a 2,000-word technical paper on, I don't know, swing bridges. Like, it's going to write the biggest load of crap. You have to kind of break it down. So that's where your human brain comes in. Okay, these are the topics that I want to cover inside this article. Then kind of prompt each section at a time.
Exactly.
But, yeah.
I use. Go ahead.
No, you use.
I was going to say that I often use AI to help me craft a prompt, like Inception. So I'll say, if you look at all the things currently being said in modern content marketing about swing bridges, what would you say, ChatGPT, are the current things not being covered? Write me a prompt in order to get the best possible XYZ out of you.
That's clever.
And then it gives me the prompt, and then I give it back to it. Yeah.
I use ChatGPT to optimize templates to use in ChatGPT. So I'll come up like with a case study template, and then I'll chuck it back in and say, optimize this for use with ChatGPT, and it will make it better, so that the LLM actually understands what you're putting in a lot better. Sorry, I have digressed quite. I love AI and I love AI tools, and a friend of mine actually thinks that I am an AI. So let's move on to AI policies.
Valuing us.
So AI policies. Have you? I think it is going to become a thing that you are going to have to kind of disclose what and how you're using what information you're putting in, how you're protecting client IP, etc., etc. But we're still in that weird gray area. It's like the Wild West. So, Tiffany, you mentioned an AI policy recently, and it was kind of like, I think it was in a LinkedIn post, and I was like, "Flip, that's actually a really good idea." So you are kind of ahead of the curve. What do you include in your AI policy? And have you had pushback from that? Like, I use AI tools, and someone's like, "Oh, I actually don't want someone that's using AI tools."
Well, they don't know that until they know what you use them for. So that kind of knee-jerk response is clearly someone who doesn't really understand AI. But anyway, let's not point fingers. My AI policy speaks to, and the reason that I'm ahead of the curve, as you said, on this, it's the same reason that I have a policy for, I have a payment policy, right? That covers what you, like, for example, if I give a talk, I have a policy around what you can do with your recording of my talk. If you want a limited license to use it for internal training, you have to pay me for that. If so why do I write these policies preemptively and before they become mainstream? Not because I really intend to enforce them, but because it starts the conversation with the client. So that's what my AI policy does at the moment. It's not there to start a whole negotiation with the client, but it is there to make them aware of where I stand, to manage their expectations, and to get the ball rolling on a conversation should that become necessary. So what does it cover? It covers how I intend to use AI to write copy, or to generate training material, or to write talks. So my AI policy covers the three things I do, which are write, teach, and speak. So it explains my intention as a business for using AI. Then it lists the AI tools that I use. And then it explains in my creative process, where do I use AI tools and which ones, right? So it says to the client, if I'm writing a website for you, I may use AI at this phase of the process to do this. It explains how I will disclose to client where and for what the AI was used, the AI LLM was used. And then it also explains how I use AI to complement my own writing, thinking, ideating, and creativity. So it's very much it's almost like a disclosure document. It's these are the things that I use AI for. These are the specific AI things that I use. These are the elements of your project that may be touched by it. And these are the phases in your project at which this will become relevant, And here's how you'll be able to tell when it was used, or if it was used.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you?
And there is also the client's IP clause that says, I undertake never to put your business name into an LLM. I undertake never to, even if I've not signed an NDA with you, I will not put your stuff into an LLM. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Have you actually had clients requesting this kind of information, or actually asking these questions, like, do you put my information into generative AI? I know that you're being transparent and you're being upfront, and that every industry needs more of that. But are you not kind of creating a problem where there isn't one at the moment?
A problem for who?
I don't know. I don't know where I was actually going with this question. So,
so I've never been asked by a writing client, do I have an AI policy? Can they see my AI policy? I'll tell you where it becomes relevant. Because I train corporates on writing, and because I use their writing samples as the exercises in the training material, they need to be damn sure that I'm not putting that stuff into an LLM. Right? Even if I've anonymized it, which I have. But I would never, I anonymize everything before I put it in a training manual. But I would never take the 10 sample emails a customer service desk sent me that I'm going to use as the basis for a training handbook. I'm never going to put that into an LLM, and they need to know that up front. And I do get asked about that. But before AI, I used to get asked, how anonymous and proprietary and confidential is our stuff when you feed it back to us in the training room. So this is a question I've always had to answer years before mainstream AI was a thing. The question now is, are you putting our stuff into an aggregator? And I have to be very clear on, that I'm not. And do I think it's going to be do I think I'm giving too much information away and creating issues? No, I don't really believe that there's a risk in over-informing. They don't have to read it. The policy is there. If they've not read it, that's not my problem. Like, it's there.
Yeah.
It's provided to them. It's on my website. You know, I'll provide it to you on request. Otherwise, read it. And if you don't read it, well, sucks to be you. You know.
Yeah. Shay, do you have? I mean, we've been chatting offline, and I mentioned to you that I've got like nothing as kind of intense as Tiffany's. I'm just like, yes, I use AI in my processes, etc. Chat to me if you want to know more information. Do you have anything like that? You know, public facing? Because
So I had.
let me just put it this way. There seems to still be a lot of shame as a creative to admit that you're using AI. And I don't know why.
I think that's why having the policy is so powerful in the first place, because it clearly outlines, you know, without you stumbling over your words about it's, this is how I use it. I use it. And it makes me a better writer because of X, X, and Y. And this is what you can expect. So to answer your question, I had an email in my inbox to remind me from about 5 months ago to create an AI policy, because that's where I sort of sometimes keep my reminders of my to-do list. And it sat there and it sat there, it sat there. And then we were recording this episode today. So I quickly made one yesterday. And it really didn't take me very long because I used AI to help me create one. So yes, I do have one. It's because I did it yesterday. It's still in a Google Doc, not on my website, but I will make it publicly available just under, you know, where it says privacy policy or whatever, so that people can click through. But I think it was also an important exercise for me to go through to actually clarify for myself what I stand for, what's acceptable, what's not, what I think is going to give the best kind of outcome. So similar to how, I mean, people often ask me, does Google penalize AI content? No, it doesn't penalize AI content. It rewards good content. So for me, that's the outcome. And that's what's important. So how I use AI is not important. What's important is this the best damn outcome that I can produce for this client, depending on their goals, etc. So that was a very long way of answering your question that, yes, ask me about my AI policy. Anyone, I do now have one. It is on a Google Doc as of yesterday. So
Awesome. I need to put something a little bit, I think mine's a little light, seeing as it's only 2 sentences. So I need to go away and work on something a bit better. But yeah, we'd like to hear from you. Do you have an AI policy? Is it something that you'd consider for your creative freelance business? Pop your thoughts in the comments, and we will see you in the next episode.